Hi, I'm Phil and I'm going to be posting a little video here that's going to help you fix a refrigerator. I looked on the internet to try to find some information about fixing this, and it was very hard to find some stuff that was really direct and to the point. So if you've got a refrigerator, or in my case this is a wine cooler that stopped working, I'll give you some very quick ways to get around it. The refrigerator was actually warm inside and the compressor on the back was very hot to touch. I did get the odd clicking sound, so I wanted to run through everything, and I'm going to give you a few easy tests. So here we go. It's the refrigerator. As you can see, just a simple wine refrigerator. Inside, like I said, was warm. And when we went round the back, we did notice that the compressor was very hot to the touch. So a refrigerator is pretty simple. There are very few parts in it. In essence, the most important parts are the thermostat, which is inside, the compressor itself, the start relay, the overload protection underneath it, and a little junction box which joins all the wires together. The first thing you really want to do is to test the compressor. Easiest way to test the compressor is to take off this cover that covers all of these electrical connectors. These will pull right off. So I'm just going to pull these off, and when I pull these connectors off, we can see that there are 3 pins. You want to first of all check a resistance between each of the pins and ground, and make sure there's no short between these pins. So if you've got a short between any of these pins and ground, your compressor's bad. Additionally, you can actually test for resistance between each of the groups of pins. That would be 3 tests. One test here, one test here, and one test there. You should have something in the region of anything between 4 to about, I don't know, 20 or 25 ohms. If you have continuity, or you have actually no continuity, then your compressor's bad. The next thing you want to test is, you've got to be kind of careful with this. You put these connections, pull these connections off. In this particular case, there's a wiring diagram here, and what it's telling me is that this blue goes to neutral. That means there's no voltage on this blue. This red is the power that goes into the compressor. So what I want to do is I want to plug it in carefully, set my meter to volts, and I want to check between ground and between this pin for 120 volts. If I've got 120 volts coming here, that means that the thermostat is providing power to the compressor, and the thermostat is good. If I don't have a voltage here, the thermostat is probably bad. Okay? So the next link in the chain here is, once I've connected that, I want to make sure that I've got 120 volts from this connector, which is the overload the overload protection here, and ground. If I do, then all is good. If I don't, this would be suspect. Now in my case, what happened, this little box here is the Ptc Relay. This is a $10 part, and very often this is what fails. Problem is, today's Sunday, and I can't get another one. So, nothing ventured, nothing gained. I basically removed this piece, and I couldn't find this anywhere on the internet. Check that you've got continuity between the one pin here and the one socket here. We need to have continuity between those two. Those are a straight connection. There should be also a low resistance between these 2 pins. I was getting about 120 kilo ohms, which is a very high resistance. If I was to plug this in right now, here we're getting 7.3 ohms, which is good. It's a slight resistance. What I was getting was 110,000 ohms. That meant that this relay was bad. So, as I said, being Sunday, and I can't actually get to the store, what I decided to do was open it up and see if I could fix this, and that's what I'm going to show you. Hold on a moment. There's a spring clip. You just need a small miniature screwdriver to wedge this off, and I'll come right back in a second. Okay, so I've taken that spring clip off, as you can see, and there is a cap. This cap will come off, and inside we can see some components. There's a thermal kind of circuit involved in this. Now carefully, what I was able to do is by pushing this out, was to work the entire mechanism out and remove it carefully. And we'll have a look at what we have here. Okay, so the first thing we have here is a connector. This is a straight connector. This is what we were looking for continuity going through from the one pin to the spade. This is the continuity from the spade to the one pin connector, and this would be the other connector here. So obviously there's continuity here, it's joined. I did notice that this was really badly corroded. It seemed there had been some arcing taking place. So what I did, piece of emery cloth, and I very carefully cleaned up this whole connector very, very well. And then I used a little bit of deoxit. Most people with electrical knowledge will know what this is. A little spray of deoxit, and wiped it down, made sure it was nice, clean and shiny. The second part is this disc relay assembly. Now I noticed that this pops right off. It's actually only held on with a sort of spring mechanism, but this is an important part, so you do have to be very careful with it and remember which way it went on. You can see one side of this is clean, the other side has some damage, has some arcing. So once again, noting that this comes in from the clean side and taking note of the aspect of how that came apart, I was able to, once again, using some emery cloth, very carefully clean the surface of this. Again, a little deoxit, and then wipe it down and clean it. And then putting it back together again was very simple. Obviously, if any of this is broken when you take it apart, then you have to get a new relay. I'm probably going to get a new relay anyway, because I don't really like this. Doesn't look fantastic. And then we're putting this back together again. So the spade connector pops in, seats in there. This disc pops back in. There are a couple of little locating areas in there that hold it together. And finally, and it's kind of a press fit. The final connector goes in there. Giving it a quick visual, making sure everything looks about right. And I'm going to get my meter. And I'm now going to test between my own meter, test between these two connectors. And right now, I am getting 8 ohms. So I've now got better continuity between these two connections. Basically, popped it back together again, reassembled it, put this back on. There is that little spring clip which snaps back on here. Connected it all back together again, and bingo, the refrigerator started up and it started cooling. So hopefully this little short video will show you what to test, and if you can't get another one, at least enable you to fix this, at least for a short period of time. $10 part's probably worth replacing, but at least right now my collection of wine can get back to the temperature it's supposed to be at. Alright, hope you've enjoyed the video, hope it's been helpful. By the way, part number, just in case you have one that has this part number. Some of them are different, some have 2 connectors, some have 1. This is a single connector, Ptc Relay. Alright, thanks very much, thanks for watching.